Do you like Bob Dylan?
Who doesn't like him?
Me.
Kenny Rogers?
How did we even get onto... I don't know who the fuck these people are.
Do you not know who Kenny Rogers is?
No.
Johnny Cash?
Yeah.
Okay, thank fuck for that. Kenny Rogers is another legend.
I'm a legend.
You must have heard...
You know we won't be able to put any of this onto YouTube.
What? Because of the music in the background?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to stop playing music.
Yeah. Do you know this one, though?
No, I don't. Turn it off.
Oh.
Bullshit. Fuck.
Just mute those sections.
Bob Kennedy, whoever the fuck it is.
When walk away.
I still can't fucking
when
believe
the
that.
dealing's done. Bow, 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 bow.
I don't know. I listen to country music. Is that country?
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen to
You
country
listen to
music.
country, but you've never heard of Kenny Rogers or
Yeah, but I
Bob
probably
Dylan
haven't heard
or-
of half the people I listen to. I just listen to the songs, John. I'm just in the moment, you
It's
know?
sort of like,
Yeah,
this is a good start, isn't it?
yeah.
Episode
Oh, I don't know.
14.
Is it?
Yeah.
I believe so.
I keep missing a couple, don't I? I missed last time as
Yeah.
well.
I think the last one you were on was probably 9.
No. No.
Not that far away. Was it 2 episodes ago? You were
No,
on?
I did. I missed last one, did one, and then I missed the one before that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm.
Anyway, episode 14 then.
How are you?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I've got a bad knee, John.
How did you do that?
Yeah. How did I do that, John?
I think...
Well done, John.
Thank you.
Am I the second person in 2 weeks that you've blown their knee out?
Neither of them were on purpose.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. The first one was a complete accident, and that one was a complete accident too.
I don't know. I think at one point I heard you say, "Fuck your knee."
You're on a rampage, mate.
I don't know what happened.
You've got to calm down.
That was he kept his hook in when I tried to do a leg drag.
You're getting well out of control.
The other one was just a freak accident.
You just get tapped by some random white belt, and then you
Funny
become
enough,
a dick.
The person who
He's not a random white belt, actually. It's Jake. We like Jake.
Yeah.
oh what that's up to
Especially
me.
now.
Oh. No, the person that I accidentally damaged their knee.
Is that guy that's trying to come back after injury and he's just yeah.
And he also is the one that I apologised to in the episode where I said about footlocking.
fucking hell.
Really? So you have
Mine.
just been hurting him?
No, I haven't hurt it. Well, the knee I did, but
You
the
hurt
footlock
me
I
as well.
didn't.
Yeah.
So how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Apart
Mate's
from your
got
knee?
a bad knee.
I have got a bad knee. I don't think it's critical.
No,
Critical, like you're going to die.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose your leg or anything.
No, I hope not. But if so, I'll just have to enter the Paralympics, and I might actually be good at jiu-jitsu. So,
Debatable.
It's not in the Olympics, is it?
No.
well, I'm going to start a Paralympic team then. Actually, I don't know if you can joke about that. Yeah,
just
I'm
did.
all right. Apart from that, I'm all right. Sleeping, little bit not. Sometimes.
How's the baba?
Yeah, he's all right. He's fine, I think. Just cries, eats, shits.
Like all of us.
Yeah.
Really?
Very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's fine. Thinking probably get him into his first ski class soon.
Yeah.
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 He's 6 weeks old on Sunday, so any time really.
Grips are strong already.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm all right. I reckon I'm about 70%.
Oh,
Not bad.
Not
Very
bad.
good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So what's what's up with have you had any scans or anything on your knee yet?
No, it only happened last night. Yeah. No, basically, yeah, John was,
Ripped it.
yeah,
ripped on a knee bar.
I don't even know how he did it.
It
I
was-
was on the bottom and I
Yeah.
had my hooks.
So I'd swept you using the lapel.
I don't know if you had, but yeah, that's debatable.
And then as I went for a leg drag, your hook was still in on the bottom leg.
yeah,
And then
so you
something
crushed.
happened.
So he decided to basically fall to his hip,
All I
crush
heard-
all his weight. Yeah, it's the
All I
first
heard
time.
was, "Ah!"
It's the first time I've ever cried out in pain in a jiu-jitsu roll.
And
then he like
tap, isn't it?
He
Yeah,
like stopped. Yeah, I
exactly.
did. Yeah, that was done. I was done. I stopped the whole round. I couldn't.
From a leg drag. He
Yeah.
tapped to a leg drag.
That's fine. I'll take it. Yeah. But apart from that, yeah, I'm alright. Yeah, no, I haven't been anywhere. I'm going to go and train this lunchtime, so I'll be alright.
So it's not that bad.
I never do anything with my injuries anyway.
No.
So
That's the same with my thumb.
That's the spirit.
yeah, I don't.
But your thumb, no, you're like, oh, I'm not sparring.
Yeah,
today 'cause of
exactly.
my
But I keep
thumb."
forgetting about it.
He,
Like,
he,
oh, here we
he
go.
pussied out of that role with me, didn't he? Because
Yeah.
of his thumb. Oh,
Oh,
my
like last
thumb.
week.
Yeah.
So how are you, John?
How's your thumb? Is it alright?
It's not too bad. No, it's pretty good. I tend to forget about it when I do the gi, and then as soon as you start gripping, then someone like pushes into it, and then it's like, okay.
It's really frustrating actually because I hadn't forgotten about it last night and I was desperately trying to get into the position to like wrist lock him or something.
Just blow it completely
Yeah.
out. No, I'm all good. Just trying to get back into a routine of working, and yeah, pretty good.
What's your percentage?
Percentage?
Yeah.
Not body mass index. Like
100% cream egg.
For saying that, John did beat me down to 90.
I know, yeah. We went for the we went for a 7 bone last night for Samuel's. Are we allowed to say that it was for your birthday? 'Cause
Yeah.
You're sort of like
You're late.
you're very
You're all late to the
yeah,
party.
but you're like you've got like this thing where
should
you like
know. It should
hide.
be in your calendar.
You hide
It
it.
was in my calendar. I did call you that morning.
You,
Oh no,
actually,
John.
Yeah, we
Called
yeah.
you. I drove all the.
did. Yeah,
I drove
yeah,
you.
you're right.
I drove all the way here just to call you, and you didn't answer. Yeah.
Called you to sing you happy birthday, but you didn't answer. And then Catherine's birthday, I sung her happy birthday in a voice note. for
I
both of
forgot.
you.
I did forget about your birthday. It's funny actually because I messaged him and I was like, because Catherine's birthday, and I don't know how I found out it was Catherine's birthday somehow anyway. And then, I like a couple of days later, I messaged Sam. I was like, oh, happy birthday! I'm sure it's around this time. I was like, I'm sure you're a couple of days after Catherine. He was like, yeah, it was last Sunday. I was like, yeah.
No, I don't care. That was good. No, yeah, we went out for Sunbone,
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. Was because you had to get
but then also
John's. Yeah.
Yeah, had to buy the other John his burger.
He's working on going down to 85 now.
That's cray cray.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me you'd been like 70 at one point?
Not 70. I was 79.
Fuck off.
But that didn't. I wasn't I? But I think I
Yeah.
was unhealthy at that point. It was just too low for
What,
me.
do you think you were healthier at 120?
I think my balance is around 85, where I felt best. I
You're
think.
always in a state of unbalance, aren't you, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 minute I'm good, next minute I'm not.
Yeah, basically.
It's life.
We'll have to get you something to take for it. Meds.
Heroin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mexican
try that.
girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah. The way you're going, it'll be cocaine.
But no, I think I'm around 85 at the moment.
What,
Dropped.
kilos?
No. Nowhere near.
So you've dropped down.
John bases his
I've dropped
mental
down by
state on his...
5%.
Yeah. You were 90.
Have you?
So, yeah.
Oh no.
I haven't been on holiday, I've just been working.
Welcome to the real world.
Yeah. Fuck.
Last
I'm
time I
going to
went
book a
away
holiday.
was almost 10 years ago.
Holy shit.
What, on abroad?
Yeah.
Where did you go?
Which is crazy. Went to Iceland.
Oh.
Oh, that was your last place.
Yeah, I think it was.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great. Well, I was ill, but yeah, no, it was good though.
Have you got any plans to go abroad with Ripley?
Yeah, we're going to Italy.
Oh, of course you are, yeah.
Yeah.
When's that?
Family in May.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So that'd be good.
Yeah.
Well, what part of Italy?
We're going to just outside San Gimignano, which is a town in
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Tuscany. No, you fucking hell. Good one. Yeah, so going to Tuscany with the family in May. So
What's
be nice.
Tuscany known for? Is it known for like watches or something?
Pasta.
watches.
Diamonds?
No.
Where's Tuscany known for?
So it's kind of like, you know, when you think of the like traditional
I
Italian
didn't even know Tuscany was in Italy, so I'm not
countryside.
gonna lie.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's like from America.
This is a man who doesn't know who Bob Dylan is.
But
I don't know Bob
You got
Dylan.
to see in geography, though.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I explained that story last night though.
Yeah.
It was a what do you call it? It was like a sympathy. It was a sympathy. Yeah.
GCSE.
I wish
I-
I got one of those.
I had to study, so I didn't get any other GCSEs, but I got a C in geography because we had to study. So like the course, or what would you call it? Like the thing that we were studying
Yeah.
for the GCSE was the 2004 tsunami. So they felt sorry for me. so they were like, oh, you don't have to like do the class if you don't want to. And I was like, obviously I was like 16, so I was like, yeah, cool, yeah, I was just gonna go. They were like, you could just go and sort of like chill out and do what you want, go and play on the computer in the library or whatever. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then got my results, failed everything else. They gave me a C in geography. So
Pass.
I was like, cheers.
I like how like pretty much everyone else does like the Oxbow Lakes and stuff like that, and
I couldn't believe
you
it.
just happened to have the tsunami.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I know. just won't let me forget about it.
Oh dear. Right.
So yeah, you all right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
right.
Tuscany.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So Tuscany is kind of the part of Italy which is, when you think of like traditional Italy, so Florence and like the countryside with all the big trees and good food, like it's that part. So it's the kind of, I think it's southern Italy.
Is that near the sea?
No, it's all inland.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the lakes further north are like slightly different, but yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that will be nice.
Is it quite touristy area or not?
Think of, in Gladiator.
Never seen it.
Oh, fuck me. Right,
He hasn't
okay.
seen anything.
Don't worry.
You can tell everyone else if you want, but
No, everyone else already knows.
oh, okay, yeah,
Skip it.
yeah,
Skip ads. So how am I? Yeah, I'm alright.
yeah.
Yeah. About 80.
You're just a jolly, happy fellow, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm always alright. I'm trying to give a better answer than that, because it should be like, and how are you?
Yeah.
And
Let's
everyone's
deep
just
dive into it, Sam.
Skipping
Yeah.
the...
Lie down.
He's
Skipping the question.
Lie down. Put your feet up.
Yeah.
You've always been quite keep to yourself, haven't you?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think so.
You don't even let anyone know when your birthday is.
Oh.
No, for like this, was it 6-7 years now I've known you?
Yeah.
You don't say
All right, it's
anything
not a
like.
competition, John. No, I've known him longer.
But yeah, you don't really talk much about like if there's something bothering you or anything. You always keep it in.
You've been speaking to Catherine, haven't you?
Oh,
This is
yeah.
an intervention.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, all your family just come up the stairs.
Set me up. Do I? No. You're right. Actually, I don't, and I'm trying to do that slightly more with you people. Probably not on the podcast.
Yet.
Specifically, it's not just a
Come on,
therapy session.
come on,
Yeah.
open up. No one's listening.
Have you seen the film The Hangover?
Yeah.
You know, when he's in the intervention, he just knocks the glass over and he's like, someone ought to clean that up. That's what I thought you were going to do a minute ago.
Oh dear. Yeah, but no, actually, I'm fine. I think I would tell you guys if I was not doing all right, or I like to think I would. Or maybe I would probably not tell you, and then I'd speak to Catherine a little bit, and she'd be like, you have to speak to John and Mason.
Yeah.
Or speak to someone. And I'd
Catherine
be like,
would text us and be like,
fine. And then I'll do it and feel probably much better for having done it.
Because you had done a little bit as lockdown eased and we were doing all that photography. Back then,
Speak to you.
yeah. We did speak a bit about just stuff going on. and
You
stuff
act like
that.
we don't speak at all.
yeah,
No.
we don't.
Ever.
We're
But it
not
has-
actually friends.
No,
Like,
I mean, it
we
has
started
changed
this
a lot.
podcast.
I feel attacked.
And then, like, it sort of just stuck. And now, like, I have every fucking week I have to come up and talk to these guys.
Well, I mean, like, it has changed a lot. Like, both of you have got kids now. So
Yeah.
your lives have completely changed. Your time's taken up a lot more. You're both married as well.
Yeah.
And
It's a trap, guys.
Bill Ball and Chain.
Yeah.
I'm just here.
Yeah.
You're just living the bachelor life now, though.
Yeah.
You're living the dream.
Nah. I got stuff to sort out.
No, I think you're what every man aspires to be. Free.
I don't know about that.
No. Maybe a bit fitter.
A little bit less of the tism.
But no, there isn't anything terrible that I'm not speaking to you about. But thanks for giving me an extra extra push.
How's that wart on your...
Come off it. Yeah, sometimes I do need an extra push. So thanks for giving me that. But I don't actually need it right now. So
That's good.
right back at you.
Oh, mentioning
I
the...
cut-
Oh, sorry.
No, you crack on.
Thank you. Mentioning the photography stuff, there was a couple of people at the club that want to like do some more because they saw my background on my phone and they used to...
Is that
Let me see
the picture you stole from Google?
That was when we went to Snowdon. but a couple people like amateur, like me, and we're talking about just getting a group of us together and just going out.
A photography club.
I only do.
Just going for a walk.
I only do live modelling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just in case you think.
Right.
Let's get into it.
We've already gone completely off of track. This episode is sponsored by absolutely no one.
Yeah, come on, guys.
Give us some
Gold
money.
build.
I
KJ
can't. No, I can't afford it.
Give us some money.
They don't need to know.
Someone give us money.
No, we need. I reckon we need battle soap on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go, Vic.
Come on, Vic.
Get on it.
When's he coming on? We did message him, didn't we?
That was ages ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure he's still up for it.
Yeah. Need to message him and try to organise that.
Vic, message us. Come and see us. We've had a topic that we've wanted to talk about, which is like hygiene in jiu-jitsu.
He's the perfect guest for that.
I kept trying to talk about it and you kept saying to me, no, wait, we'll get Vic on, Vic on. And we've just never
got around to
There's
it.
a few people that we've like want to come on. I know, like we mentioned it to Jack Brickley as well from Hook BJJ, because he'd be quite interesting to talk about all like his new style of teaching and stuff like that. And he said he would, and like a few other people, but we just it's just time. Like we struggle enough to try and get the recording time.
We just need to get in. Since coming back, we need to just get into a good routine where it's a stable time period of recording.
I think what we might end up doing is, because it's kind of working well now, isn't it? Because we're recording later, so then if people are messaging, it's giving us a whole week to get it back out there. Yeah. But what's this week's topic, Samuel? Young Jamie.
Young Jamie. Well, we've got a few bits and pieces. There's something we touched on last time, which I'd like to go into slightly greater detail on. So there's two things. There was BJJ for self-defense.
Yep.
And there was also, should people be allowed to request comp rounds at like open mat or something? So you like go up to someone and say, do you want to have a comp round?
Okay.
Which is different. So I think some people treat sparring always comp round, go,
100%.
But then lots of people are either pacing yourself.
Are we doing this one now?
Sure.
Okay.
And then there's a voice note that we got.
Yeah.
Which is completely random and off-piste, but we can do that at the end once we've done these.
So, comp rounds.
Yeah, comp rounds.
Comp rounds are fine. I think it's strange. I like some gyms are definitely more comp orientated than other gyms as well. And so it's kind of different gym to gym. But I would say at Newbury, you would have to request if you're going to go ham, you need to tell that person, because there is people in there that will never compete, have no interest in competing, and have no interest in going up to 100. And some people, like I think me and you are quite similar, Sam. Like we struggle to turn it on to that 100 level of competing, whatever. But I've had people ask me for comp rounds or whatever, and I always just be like, I'm always just like, yeah, well, I'll just do what I can, if you know what I mean. But what was the initial question? Was it, should you request?
Well,
is it okay?
Yeah, the question kind of is just like, do we think people should be allowed to just, say, do you want to comp round?
I think so, 100%. But if someone says no,
and is there any
it.
like stipulation as to like, can you ask people of the same grade as you, or someone who's bigger than you, smaller than you? Because what's the point if you're like 100 kilo
brown belt?
Yeah, going up to like the.
Why are you looking at me?
Yeah,
you have a comp round.
Yeah, it's like, pointless. Yeah,
it depends though, odd, because it can be beneficial to both parties. Because like when I train with Sean, I don't use like my strength or anything. I use it for being able to deal with his speed and movement. So most of the time I'll play from my back and
Yeah,
allow to
but-
try and control
Yeah,
it.
but
That's a different level, yeah.
That's just a round.
Yeah.
That's not a comp round. If it was a comp round, you'd be
You'd
trying
be
to
smashing him with what you
Yeah,
know,
true.
which is
with literally everything.
walrus guard, putting all your weight on him.
We've had some pretty intense rolls on the Tuesdays, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah,
And it's been
yeah.
good fun.
But I think it has to be calculated properly. I think if you're like, say, a blue belt and you're training for a comp, I think that you should either be rolling with people that are heavier than
Yeah.
you, or people that are obviously more skilled than you, like higher belt than you, and then asking them, like you said, there's no point going up to a white belt and being like, can I have a comp round? I mean, that's actually strictly, that's probably not true, because there's some white belts, like higher level white belts, that probably could give them a good run. But yeah, like couple of month experience, one stripe white belts or whatever, no point. But rolling with people that are heavier than you or more skilled than you, and then you switching your level up to your 100% pace or whatever, is going to be more beneficial for you, because that guy's going to have either be stronger, so it'll make you have to work around their strength or their technique, and then or just be more skilled and have the answers to what you're trying to do. So then so I found this with being lighter, when I roll with people that are heavier or higher grade, I find that then when I roll with someone that's like lighter than me or, same weight, I'm like, oh, that works, because you've essentially drilled it on someone bigger or more skilled that has the answers.
Yeah.
So I think, comp rounds are perfectly fine, but I think you have to ask. If they say no, you've got to respect that. And really, you should push your skill level if you're going to want to do that. So not just, not picking on the trial class guy, basically. That would be my opinion on it. But I've had people ask me for comp rounds, but I don't say no, but I'm not like, I match the energy, if you know what I mean. I'm not. If someone asked me for a comp round, I would probably, what I would do is just be really difficult. And I think like Alfie, for an example, he a couple of weeks ago he was getting ready for a comp and he was having some hard rounds, and I just really played a hard guard on him. And then afterwards he said, "Oh, I'd love to come and have some more rounds with trying to pass the guard, like just passing guard on you, sort of thing." And so that's what I would do. I don't think, if I'm not going to go and compete and I've got no interest in competing, I'm not going to smash them. Not saying I could, but for an example, I'm not. If they've asked me for a comp round, I'm not going to just use everything I've got on them. I would probably just make it more difficult if I could for that person.
There's also an element of the risk.
Yeah.
There's like a calculated element of taking extra risks there.
Yeah,
because
of course,
like your chance of getting injured goes up.
Yeah.
If you're having a comp round or a very competitive, like if you like took the back and you had like a rear naked choke grip, but it was over someone's chin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You're like, in regular sparring, you're not going to crank.
Some
that
people do.
on. Some people do, and depends on like their experience and like should they know better or not.
I don't know if it's
Or
should they
can
know
you
better,
protect
but
it
it's
or
like,
not?
that's just arsehole, isn't it?
But that's what I mean, is that like I know people who probably will do that, and it's because they don't know.
They want the win, whether it's on a comp mat or
and whereas for me, I don't do that to anyone, because like if you can't get right under the chin, like that's your problem to solve in that situation. You could get them to tap by just crunching down on the chin, yanking it in towards you and all that stuff. Like you can get them to tap, or just put like a face bar on and like they'll tap. But
who was that UFC fighter that not that long ago, didn't he, got his
Rob Whittaker
got all his teeth smashed out, didn't he, by getting
the Chimaev
Yeah,
fight.
that's it, yeah.
I think that was because because we actually watched that.
Yeah.
And when it was on, and I said that because he put it on so quickly, I don't think he had time to clench his jaw. And I think because he tapped so quickly, that was like panic, like I'm in danger tap. That's not like, okay, yep, you win. that was like I'm really in danger. And you saw his whole bottom of his like chin and jaw had been crushed inwards.
Yeah.
And that's because I think he didn't have time to clench his teeth and tuck his chin because it just went.
I think what that links to is what I was saying is like with those comp rounds is that and with what you're saying about injury is that in comp, like you're taking that with you. Like if you get an armbar or whatever, like you're taking that, until they like you. I know, respectfully, I think regardless, if you're just doing like a local like 6-man in your division tournament, I still don't think that you should be ripping on subs anyway, because that guy's still probably got a fucking job and a family to go and work on Monday. He's just there to test his jiu-jitsu or whatever. If you're in a sub only and you've physically entered yourself into that sort of world, then go for it. But yeah, basically if someone's asking you for a comp round, if they're ripping on subs, like, and it's just the risk level of injury is so high.
There's either an element of trust with that person, like if say Cameron or Archie or something like that said, shall we have a comp round,
I know you're safe.
They'd not. I really trust those guys, and most people in our gym, because you can't trust everybody, because some people don't have the presence of mind. You can still have a comp round where you can like really aggressively get to kind of checkmate, but they don't have to crank it on. But then sometimes if it's a real comp round and you want to practice the finishing mechanics of getting there and then having something like, there's a bit of a grey area, right? And that just comes down to trust. And
it's also very hard to simulate a comp round in your gym.
Because
all it is pace and stress. Like
the only way I think you can simulate it is train for a session, have some hard rounds, get your gas tank working really hard, and then push yourself.
Essentially, like what should be different from your training to a comp anyway? Like, I know I just said about snatching on subs and stuff like that, but again, that's quite a rare thing to sort of like, as in, you should know that you've got a sub. Like you shouldn't have to like yank an armbar. No. You should have so much control that you can apply it. And so what, we say comp round, like you say, John, what is a comp round? A comp round is just, if you go and compete, you should just be showing your jiu-jitsu. Like all it is it's just up in the pace, isn't it? It's the back and forth. It's not.
But we spoke about this the other day. It was like jiu-jitsu is people. And people are different and have different kind of characteristics or mentalities, don't they? So you might get someone who, is completely on your vibe, and they're like, yeah, cool, we're going to take it aggressively to checkmate, and then we're going to like chill. But then there's some people who don't do that, and same for competition, will put the submission over perfect positioning or control.
And you're going to get the tap.
Because they're wrenching it on, you're so concerned about your hip. But it's not an ideal demonstration of jiu-jitsu as a whole.
Does that show display of skill, or does that show display of
whatever
athleticism, strength?
Like intent, right? It's normally in competition, if people are evenly matched in skill, or even if there's a bit of a difference in skill or whatever. There's a loud noise.
It's just the neighbour next door opening a shutter.
Can you tell him to shut the fuck up?
I don't know if anyone heard that.
Motherfucker.
But like it's normally the person who's hungrier. It's just the intent.
Because it's normally,
like, and you can see that in competition. There's someone chasing it, and normally they'll get it, and it's a case of how much do you want it. Right?
I've seen some fucked up subs in comp that you're like, that would never work. But then you think about it, and it's like, well, actually, that's just because of the pure pace that shoulder got twisted or whatever that guy's had to tap. Like, there's no actual submission there as such, But
and I think that's also in training the taps that they don't piss me off per se, but they kind of do. And it's those things where it's not a proper jiu-jitsu, a mechanical, like, yes, I win kind of thing. It's
during a scramble,
I'm going to grab this, I'm going to wrench this, and I'm just like, I could probably escape this, but I don't want to take the risk of me sticking it out to escape that.
Yeah.
Like I do in competition. I'm like, I'm going to tap because the gamble is not.
And the thing is, it works both ways with a comp round. Like picking up of what you're saying, you know if someone's got a sub on you. Like if they're loose and they're weak and they're shit, and you think there's space here, I'm getting out of here, fine. But you know if someone's got that locked up, and you're like, yeah, I'm not. That's it. I'm not getting out of here. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point? That's when people get injured. Is when people prolong the.
And you see this time and time again. People aren't tapping to Kimura or something.
And then all of a sudden,
adrenaline,
bang, and their shoulder's gone.
It makes me feel just even to watch those videos makes me feel sick.
Yeah.
Like the calf slicer one, Bernie sent us.
yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Though his
Did you
leg
not?
didn't go.
Oh yeah, no, I did. Yeah, the fight
That
in the
knee
UFC.
has to be absolutely
No, he
destroyed.
got.
Someone
Is
said
it the
he
UFC
walked
one?
off.
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
did. He literally got up like nothing. His hip.
But surely the adrenaline would have kept him
I'll
going
try and find it.
at
I'll
that
just-
point.
Maybe.
There is
I'll-
no way that knee is absolutely fine.
We'll find it and stick it up on the Instagram.
It was.
His foot was literally in the front side of his hip with someone's.
But did you see they
leg
were
in
like
between.
both? It was like a 50-50 calf slice. Both their legs were like hooked like that and bent the other way.
Completely tangled up, weren't they?
I'm just trying to find it, who it was to.
Yeah, so I don't know. And then there's the ego element, right? And like, it's hard, like if a blue belt who's bigger than you, but you're, say, a smaller brown belt, comes up to you.
Fairs Ziam.
Yeah.
Who's the guy?
That's the one.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, like there's lots of variables with that, because if someone's bigger than you and come up to you and says, do you want to comp round, does your amount of skill that you're better than them outdo the fact that they're bigger than you and they're going to be trying really hard?
That's the
and then you just got to check your ego, right? 'Cause
Yeah, that's like if it's basically like a picture. Like if John was to come up to me and go, right, we're having a comp round, I would be like, oh, yeah, all right, but it's nothing. It's no skill test or whatever for. All it would be for John to do that to me would be like an ego boost, wouldn't it? It would be like,
I think the only time it would be beneficial for me is if I was absolutely fucked.
yeah,
And then it's like a survival, trying
then-
to deal with your speed and stuff like that.
yeah. But I still think like your level, regardless of how fucked you are, I think your level, you'd have the top pressure to be able to hold me down. It happens all the time with me and you. I'll be going mad, and
I said to you yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah.
Like, I know when he latches onto a submission, it's always like pretty much there. Like when you get like a footlock or something, the tension's already there, everything's locked in. You can already feel it. It's like straight off the bat. And it's like, I don't want to give him any space to get any submission, so I'll get to like side controls, mounts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Leave no
and
space.
I can feel that now because when I roll with you, the top
I don't necessarily like go for a submission, but more control.
The top pressure is like it's
Leaving
like ranked
nothing.
up now, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
whereas before, like a year ago, whatever, when we'd roll, like you'd like let me out of here or whatever, and blah blah blah. But yeah, now it's like once he's in them positions, it's like, oh fucking hell, all right.
And that's one of the things I've tried to work on, because I love being playful and like rolling around, but equally I do like to try and just control and give no space, which jiu-jitsu is all about, the control, controlling another human.
Yeah.
And like Sean's very good at just getting out of those spaces, so
Yeah, and I think sometimes we can be so relaxed and we can coast a bit that maybe people requesting competitive rounds would be good for our jiu-jitsu, because
Yeah.
it gets you to tighten up all that stuff, because like a lot of the time if I'm on top, I'll give space for someone to get legs in and turn, because you just continue the game.
Yeah.
Whereas
But then is what's right and what's
comp
wrong
round,
there?
but then am I training myself badly by because then if I get to competition, because I've done that so much, will my like trapping, not giving them any space stuff not be as good?
I don't know, because I could argue off of that some of the hardest rounds that actually this is probably right. Not some of the hardest rounds, but some of the, I don't know what the word would be, but like you roll with someone that's done jiu-jitsu for like 6 months, yeah? He's a white belt. He's done jiu-jitsu for like 6 months. He's still in that stiff phase of like, you know, I won't let you pass. I don't want you doing that, blah, blah, blah. They're not enjoyable rounds. And so I think if the higher belts did that, I think the jiu-jitsu would just be shit. It would just be boring because, like you say, John, if John wanted to and we roll, he could just literally side control, mount me, like
just
sit there, pin me down, and I would just be like, okay. So what you're saying, Sam, is like you're continuing the game. And I think I've always noticed it, blue belt. When people get to blue belt, they seem to relax that little bit because they've got to their blue belt and they're like, cool. And then it's always more enjoyable to roll with those people that are like doing their own thing whilst rolling with you. If you know what I mean? Like when you're working on your own game and you've got something you want to do, it always makes the round more enjoyable because you give that space for someone to escape from mount, to escape from side control, the strong positions in jiu-jitsu, you know. And it's like when someone gets your back, I always hate the rounds where someone gets my back and then they literally just like everything's in tight, which is strange, I know to say, because that's obviously that's
what you're meant to do.
That's what you're meant to do. But in just an open mat rolling, say
experiment.
You should experiment. Yeah, you shouldn't just be like getting onto my back and just literally like driving your knuckles into my chin constant, like for the next 4 minutes of trying to get that rear naked choke. And I get it because that's probably what you're working on, which is fine. But there's 20,000 fucking other things that you could do from there. So do something else. Like,
but I think the whole thing of as you were saying about the movement, I think it sort of ties in with the other subject of training for self-defense, because if you are someone who, for a comp round, who mainly does jiu-jitsu for self-defense, they're going to be looking to control you, not necessarily submit you or anything.
Yeah, that's true. Fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
And then that also trains the person for competition to be able to try and escape. Yeah. Whereas the guy who's just training for...
basically what I just said, that's pretty much puts bullshit to that, because like I say, if someone was doing it for self-defense and they get to your back, then
they're going to hold you.
Your back is but then are those guys turning up to open mat?
Well, I'd ask you, how common do you think it is that's training to defend yourself from another trained grappler?
This is the thing.
And that is so different. If if you get in a fight and someone takes your back, puts some seatbelt in and some hooks,
you know, you're like, fuck, this guy knows something.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're actually having a jiu-jitsu roll. You're not you're not defending yourself anymore, you're rolling.
It becomes different. And the thing with training jiu-jitsu for self-defense, or any martial art for self-defense, is you're training for that, the 1% of the time where an altercation or any kind of conflict becomes physical.
Yeah. I'd argue.
But then surely the comp rounds work.
That? Like, so jiu-jitsu for self-defense, let's say, is different things to different people. If you are a healthcare assistant or a person who works in a mental institution,
police,
let's say,
police as well,
police officer, again, is different.
I think, just going off that, I always say I truly believe that it should be mandatory training for anyone in the NHS. They should have to do like a 6-week course. Anyone who works in a hospital, even firefighters, all of them guys, police, everyone should have to do some sort of, just not necessarily jiu-jitsu, but that sort of hand-to-hand grappling side of the control. So like being comfortable in doing a couple of takedowns, being comfortable in doing like pinning, you know, and like just some joint locks and stuff like that. Not necessarily like the whole choking thing's a bit, that's a grey area, because you watch those videos of people that get in altercations on the street, and someone knows stuff and he gets him in a rear naked choke, he puts him to sleep. It's a grey area, because if you keep that choke on, if you don't let go of that choke, even though they've gone out, that's an attack then, and you know,
it's quite difficult because there aren't any other deadly force stuff you can do on a sliding scale.
Yeah.
So a choke, let's say,
You can put it on a little bit.
Can be used to control someone. Just put them out enough if they're really going for it, or.
But you have to know to let go.
Yeah, but if you continue doing exactly the same thing you're doing for 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds,
and their brains being starved of,
they can die.
Yeah,
and so you go from being able to neutralize someone
to being able to kill someone,
to killing someone.
Yeah.
Whereas if you, let's say, as a police officer, either in the UK it's not as common, but in America, like it's more binary. If you switch to deadly force, you get out your weapon, right? At least in the UK, we have a better, well, because there's not as many guns, we have a better understanding of scale, and most police officers aren't equipped with anything. I mean, anything can be deadly force, and if you're threatened, like if you feel like you're gonna die, then you're not acting as an officer anymore. You're not acting as
it's all just
an emergency worker anymore.
It's fight or flight.
Surely as well, depending on your training,
and that's a legality thing. But and then also chokes, let's say, to restrain someone is like. So I've done quite a bit of training in this kind of sphere, I guess, and a lot of it is like if you're dealing with someone who's taken some drugs that are affecting their circulation, their respiratory system, the fact that if you were to choke a regular person, they go out, they come back, they're confused, that's it, they're completely, all right. If someone's taken a bunch of drugs that's jacked their respiratory system up, their BP's up, like the heart rate's going through the roof, and then you choke them out, the potential for them to die is so much greater than choking a regular person out of training, let's say. So, but like, and that's just like you said, but to physically, mechanically control someone without
I think
switching the computer off of them.
I think even if you break someone's arm, genuinely, I think if you get into an altercation and you break someone's arm or break someone's leg or like blow their shoulder out or whatever, in a court of law, I think you're going to be seen to be less.
Not as bad.
It's not an attack.
The violence is greater on.
It is, but it's.
But in the legal sense, it's not going to be looked at that way because you can't snap an arm to the extent that someone actually dies. You can choke someone to the extent that they die. And that comes down to you.
Do you think, depending on the training you have, people see what they class as life-threatening situation differently? So, like for someone who trains jiu-jitsu, some circumstances wouldn't feel so life-threatening because you don't have that panic, whereas someone who doesn't.
I don't know. I think.
Like, if I think back to when I first started jiu-jitsu, a lot of the positions or situations I would be in, I'd be like, holy shit, like, what do I do here? Like, I'm scared, sort of thing.
That's why.
But now I'm just like, whatever.
That's why I'm always say so much that it's actually weird that jiu-jitsu is a mainly male-dominated sport. I've said this before, I've said it loads of times, but because most of the positions that you find yourself in are probably going to be 100 times more beneficial for a woman, unfortunately, than it is for a man.
Well, or anyone who's under personal attack, shall we say.
But the point of jiu-jitsu for self-defense is that, is it statistics? Okay, I could get this wrong, but they say that someone who's trained jiu-jitsu for like 6 months is more capable and more dangerous than like 99% of the population.
Yeah.
To be able to self-defend themselves. So it's like, obviously, if that's the true statistics, I could have to look up and see if I'm right there, but
it would be good if we had actual knowledge exactly.
Though it is something along those lines.
So that in itself says to me that the more and more you go through jiu-jitsu or whatever, even if you do that first 6 months just to give yourself a confidence boost, so you like the statistics don't lie that you can handle yourself if someone was ever to attack you or whatever like that. One thing I'll say on this, which I always sort of like, he'll fucking love this, but I always praise Bernie on the way he teaches sometimes, because like with kids classes and with like
The Mondays,
more like fundamental classes, he always makes a point of saying like your first line of defense, if you're using this for a altercation or if you're just using this for self-defense, the first line of defense is to not get into that altercation.
Yeah.
And he always makes quite a big point of that, and I always quite think that that's quite important to know, because people, weirdly, if you come to jiu-jitsu for self-defense, it's almost backwards, isn't it? Because you're kind of trying to teach yourself to be in that altercation, whereas really you just don't want to be in that. Like, that's the whole point. And I find, and I say this because I used to get into fights and stuff, not, you know, just stupid, like in town or whatever, you know, and then when my dad introduced me into training, it just stopped. Because you feel like you have that knowledge to be like, fuck this guy, he's just drunk, like.
and you have an understanding of how dangerous it can be.
Yeah,
as
you'd
well.
be like, I could, you know, this guy's pissed out his head. I don't drink. I've never drunk, so it's like whatever. And it's like, oh, you know, if he started on me or whatever, then like I know enough that I choke him unconscious, like break his arm or whatever. So you're kind of like, yeah.
What's the point?
What's the point? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, see you later, mate. Yeah, all right, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
You have that confidence to know,
So I think
to sort of step away.
The jiu-jitsu for self-defense thing kind of, although you learn skills, it also mentally changes you to just have a bit more confidence walking along the street. Do you know what I mean?
Which does kind of two things at the same time. Is it stops you, especially as a man, having your ego and going out, and you don't have the question of, oh, do you reckon I could take him in a fight?
Yeah.
You know, 99% you're going to be like, yeah, like I don't need that question to be answered. So that stops the men, especially from starting altercations or getting involved in things. But then also, as a man and as a woman especially, is like you just said, how you conduct yourself, how you walk, how you stand, how it's subconscious for a lot of people, but how you carry yourself stops you being just picked as a victim. Because normally victims are picked because it's the path of least resistance, or it's someone who looks like an easy target. And it's not about like the amount of tattoos you've got, how like strong and big you are. It's how you move and how you stand. And how you're like. So there's an exercise that's sometimes taught in like self-defense classes, is like if you play like a game with yourself, obviously don't ever do this to anybody, but if you think you're just going along the street in town and you think, if I was going to sneak up on someone and attack them out of absolutely nowhere, and you look around and you choose who you'd get. If someone's like kind of fumbling about in a bag, headphones on, looking at their phone, not paying attention. So we all know those people, like you're walking along in a straight line and someone's looking at their phone. They don't even know that you're actually there. You think, I could elbow you in the head and there would be like you would never see it. Like if you play those mental games, it starts to become apparent. Like someone who looks left and right, you're like, I don't fancy my chances as much.
Yeah,
now.
he's alert.
It like immediately makes you they're not looking behind directly at you. But if someone's head up, not looking at their phone, not distracted, they're just aware. And it's not necessarily conscious, but you're just no longer a target. And I think it's self-confidence, but that's external as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it. So just training decreases your chances of ever getting in or being chosen as a victim.
I tell you what else as well, off of that, is, I think you might have said this before, but it's like people always fancy themselves as a fighter. Like men, young lads, always just seem to have this energy of, just for some unknown reason, they've never done a martial art in their life, never fought anyone, And that for some reason they just think they can fight everyone, or they like think they can get into a fight and they'll just take everyone on.
Especially the bigger guys.
Yeah, if you go and train, and this is for anything, Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu. Like I'll talk about the legit martial arts. I'm not talking about any other bullshit fucking Aikido or anything like that. But if you train a legit martial art and you go into a room and you've got a guy that's just like, a standard like looking guy, not nothing big, anything special, and he throws you around that room for an hour, all of a sudden those guys humble themselves and they go, oh, when next time they're in the pub and they think they're going to start on someone, they could go, oh, but that guy could know something. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Which again then ties in to the fact that getting into any kind of altercation with any person, you're having a gamble. Like that's a gamble of your own personal safety, but then equally as someone who does train, if someone's kicking off and you want to intervene, depends if you want to intervene or whether you have an obligation to intervene if someone else is in danger or whatever.
I think I would intervene enough to be like, but I wouldn't start anything. So like, from what your point is, like, I think I would hold myself with enough confidence, but I would talk the situation down. I wouldn't just ball in and do anything. And if it escalated, I wouldn't get involved, but I would hold myself in enough confidence to want to try and de-escalate it. But I'm not going to use my training for someone else's argument.
And the other end of that is if you do intervene and you punch someone or choke someone, and let's say you choke them and they had an underlying condition and they die, or they're taking certain drugs that put too much strain on their heart and they die, or they fall over, smack their face on the curb and they die. Like, you're then dealing with all the consequences of all of that
for someone else's argument
because you took a gamble in doing something. And so it's an interesting comparison to make, because if you shrink it down to just jiu-jitsu and you're like, if I try and take the back, I might expose this in the transition to it, and so I'm making a calculated risk to do that. It's that trade-off. You scale that all the way up to two people over there having an argument. If I intervene, what is the potential, the best or the worst thing that could happen?
I've got a bit of a story on that.
I was just say your story and then I'll...
So a few years ago, I can't remember who was there. Say a few years ago, it was quite some years ago, probably 10 years ago. I went out for a night out in Reading, and
it's already
I can't remember who. I can't remember who. I know my mum was there, but we weren't out together. But she'd gone out with her friends, and me and I think it might have been Tom had gone out. Anyway, we met at the end of the night and we were walking back to the car, and we went down an alleyway and there was a bloke beating his girlfriend up. And before, I just didn't even think. Ran straight over and was like kicking off. And the bloke got really aggressive, and then the woman, so bearing in mind he's just been beating her up, the woman started on me, started pushing me, saying leave him alone and all that. And luckily some other people got involved as well, because it was about to, could have got, because basically what my point is here is that you get involved in someone else's altercation and then all of a sudden I'm the one that's outnumbered, because I've got him, his missus that he's just been beating up, but apparently she forgot that and all this. And then a few other people got involved. And I always said from that day onwards, I think I was with Tom, I remember saying to Tom, I was like, I'm not going to step in to something like that again.
Yeah, I think actual violence is chaos. And when you inject yourself into chaos, obviously as an individual you're a stable entity, but if you put yourself into the mixing pot of that kind of chaos, you don't like you just said, the outcomes, you've just got no idea what's going to happen.
But I've said before, like, obviously I got into martial arts pretty much because of my dad, and he's trained loads of stuff all of his life, sort of thing. And there's been moments in my life, like I was really little. I was about 6 or 7, and we were in a holiday in Devon, and we was in the fish and chip shop, and I was just stood outside like milling around, and some drunk bloke came up the street and just took a dislike to me. Don't know why. Literally a child. And
that's your face.
Yeah.
It's called punchable face.
And he was pushing people and stuff and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, someone basically said to him, "Oh, mate, like, just fuck off." My dad was inside paying for the fish and chips at this point, and he turned around and he launched the glass that he had at me, and it weirdly, like when you know the old school fish and chip shop signs, the ones outside that was like a bag of fish and chips or whatever, and it was like lit up.
Yeah,
it hit that and it sprayed glass all over me. And then I remember my dad literally jumped out, and within seconds the guy was on the floor, and he just had him like on his front with his wrist like in a wrist lock, basically like pushed down on him, and that was it. Like that's all it took to, control this guy. But I remember the police came, and there was like 4 of them, and they were all like, yeah, get off him, to my dad obviously, and they couldn't control him. They started kicking off, and it was all chaos, and the police were getting thrown around, but for 45 minutes waiting for them to get there, it was all under control.
Yeah.
And that's the tiny little level of knowing that little bit of control, say for the self-defense thing,
a little bit of pressure on the wrist.
Little bit of pressure, yeah, like, and that's what I was saying about difference between joint locks and choking for self-defense, because if he'd have choked him out and the police had turned up and he was unconscious, bit different, isn't it? Bit different scenario.
But bringing it back with the jiu-jitsu for self-defense, that's where I think if someone does join jiu-jitsu for the reason for self-defense, need to break down what actually works for self-defense and what doesn't, because you get sucked into jiu-jitsu so much, you enjoy it, you start doing all these other techniques, and there's a lot that doesn't actually work for self-defense because of the striking aspect. I think
you only need to know a very basic amount. This is what going back to my subject about saying about police officers and NHS staff and all that a 6-week course or whatever. You only need to know a very certain amount to be very much more, I'm not to say controlling, but very much more maybe in control of the situation than the everyday person that's never had anything. Because like you say, a fucking kiss of the dragon back take, just fucking blah, blah, blah. That's nothing to do with self-defense. We do that because we love jiu-jitsu, yeah? So, yeah.
But then do you think if a club describes jiu-jitsu as like a self-defense and that, they should offer a class just for techniques that work for self-defense?
Jiu-jitsu as a whole is good because to learn the basics of it, you're going to know a lot of stuff that you could use in a self-defense scenario, but 99% of it is just it's to be used against other jiu-jitsu players, if you know what I mean.
And I think this is where it all comes back to what we touched upon last time, was it's not the jiu-jitsu, it's how you train it.
Yeah.
So it's
because if you're it goes back to the comp round thing. If you're training jiu-jitsu to be the next world champion, your journey is a lot different to Bob, who's walked off the street because he wants to just know a few little bits and pieces and feel a bit more confident on a night out, like as in not to hurt people, but just because he's been being picked on, or someone, people get attacked and their self-confidence is like done. They think, oh, if only I'd have known, but I'll tell you what, actually, I'll link it quickly onto something. Someone messaged me directly about
while you find that, do you think it's beneficial then, if you're training for self-defense, to have a class where you are training it as a self-defense, so like involving the striking in it?
So I personally think that's a non-negotiable, really. Like if that's the reason you want to do jiu-jitsu, then yes.
But make it clear to your coach.
You get you get these like kind of the benefits of just generally doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, that's going to translate over. However, that does not take into account, and competition is different. It's closer, but it's different. None of that takes into account things like your adrenaline dump. If you aren't prepared, and then someone out of, you're dealing with spike in temperature, spike in adrenaline, autonomic nervous system. I think that's the correct terminology. But like all that stuff, you have to know that's happening, because you could be a black belt, super world champ, and your fight, flight, or freeze kicks in, and you could be stuck because of your adrenaline and all the rest of it kicking in, and do nothing.
And stupid stuff like concrete.
Yeah. And also, like, if you're not aware of, like, striking, for instance, if you've only trained just doing grappling, as soon as someone starts throwing in a punch in there, that changes everything.
But this is
it also
point.
opens up a lot more.
If you scale that up to a knife, right?
Yeah.
Or if someone
of any kind,
with the punching thing, so in jiu-jitsu, like, if you think you know something and you get into the altercation and all of a sudden you're on your back, like you said, John, that's great until they start raining punches down on you and your head's bouncing off the concrete.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you are in a fucking bad situation. And that quick armbar, from close guard, that's not coming.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bigger topic than can be discussed in an hour.
But
definitely.
One of the things someone sent to me, thing about like bullshit martial art clubs, if you know what I mean, and it links well to this, because I see that. Wait, can we just have a time check? Yeah, I've probably got about 5 minutes.
All right.
Yeah, basically, I'll get onto this. We could talk about this next time, but
We've still got voice note as well.
Oh, we have to do that next time. Yeah, it's basically like, like the whole bullshit. Like I said about whatever, fucking Aikido. It's all right, but you know what I mean. Like, it's the club. it's the clubs that.
Not all right, though, is it?
No, not really. It's the clubs that like, like the whole fucking like like. You see it. What do they call it? What do they call it? McDojo. Like, like grab your wrist and I apply small amount of energy and you fall on floor and you fucking guy in front of him is rolling over and falling on the floor and you're like, okay, but it's the worrying thing, and any martial art for self-defense, not just jiu-jitsu. The worrying thing is that people buy into this shit.
Yeah.
And they fucking walk down the street thinking that they can like harness this inner energy and throw someone across McDonald's.
So this is a big part of the reason why jiu-jitsu especially, or any like proper combat sports, don't allow that to be a thing, because you're constantly being met by reality checks, and you're training against proper people, real people. No one's giving you, that kind of sense of I'm super powerful, and I think that's a big one, but it still applies though, like, because people get a bit of power and get a bit drunk on it.
Yeah,
because again, like, I've done lots of extracurricular training on this, and like some people from more of like a Krav Maga background just going to workshops and stuff.
Yeah.
And I go to a lot of things with people from more of a Krav Maga background, where it's like, and are they the guys to be trained especially for self-defense?
I was going to say, are they the guys that pretend with the rubber guns and stuff like that? Yeah. See, all that's fucking bollocks. Someone pulls if someone pulls a gun out on you, you're not going to stand there and go, back wrist, flick, put the barrel, turn the barrel, grab the gun, turn it on there. Fuck off! You're fucking running.
Yeah, and the issue
getting shot in the back.
There was a lady in one of the workshops who, it was a 2-day something or other. So after the first day or something, she like came in and she was like saying, I was really gunning for something to really kick off on the tube on the way home or something, and I was like, don't do that. No. Don't do that, because
you'll bring yourself an energy. So
this is going to make,
because you'll be like looking at someone the wrong way or whatever, and then all of a sudden you've got a gang starting on you, and that knife's that's not made of rubber anymore.
No.
And so we did like a training situation where we were on like a unused tube train, so it was like self-defense or stuff on public transport and stuff. And it was interesting because you'd get like a guy in a red man suit who was obviously the bad guy coming on.
Them red men.
They had a knife, racist again, with a knife or something. And every time the situation would kind of change. And they would put you in a seat. There'd be other people there and stuff. And you wouldn't know when it was going to kick off. And I stood up to be by the exit door.
Yeah.
And they're like, so what are you doing? And I was like, this is what I do on a tube. I'll stand near to a door, partly because I don't really like being in a tin can trapped under the ground. So I'm anxious already. So that takes me from like being completely static to being kind of on edge just because I'm in a tube train.
Yeah.
And if the door opens and someone I don't really like the look of gets on, it's not up to me to stay on that train and think, I'm going to protect every motherfucker on this train because I'm a bad man.
You're protecting yourself.
I'm going to be like, I think I might get off this train. Yeah. And I did that, and they were like, you're not really respecting the drill. And I'm like, I get it, but equally, if we want to train with some realism to it, I'm getting off the fucking train.
And saying about the realism, would you say, like, if the martial art you're thinking about trying doesn't actually do live sparring, bin it off?
It's like those martial arts that make you stand up in a row and fucking stand in front of the coach going, huh, huh. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's like, it's not, you do that if you're wanting to train that martial art for what it is,
an art or a dance, or like,
but for self-defense, or if any, like, mate, bin that off. Yeah.
But the issue is we don't do any training or education on things like spotting the early signs of an abusive partner.
Yeah.
Or signs in a child who might be in some kind of a domestic abuse situation at home. We completely ignore the fact that predominantly nearly all violence is not done by strangers. It's by people you already know.
Yeah.
And it's by people who you're probably trapped in the home, either your sibling or parents or whoever. So, and there isn't a martial art that like covers how to have the ability to escape that. Like, sure, you can escape from side control, but can you escape when your mum or your uncle is the one who's abusing you? And that's
giving you the old slipper.
The belt.
Yeah,
back in the day. But if you're talking about like safety from violence, we're talking about like the tiny percentage, like tiny, and all the avoidable stuff. And it's like, okay. And so it's such a big topic. And like, again, people say, which martial art is the best for self-defense? Should we have a specific self-defense jiu-jitsu class? It's like, the thing we're not talking about is how can we protect each other as a community, or our, like, people you know, or children of people you know, or it's so big. And I think to look at it just from a martial arts standpoint, like, it's interesting to talk about, and it's kind of cool and fun to train. But if we're talking about stopping violence, then that's so small in the grand scheme of it. Which is another topic. I know we're kind of nearly out of time, but
make the punishment more severe. People are less likely to do it, aren't they?
I don't
that's
know.
A whole
I can't. Right, we can't get into that now. I gotta go.
Yeah. So if anyone's got takes or opinions on this, because I think it's quite a
all of you Aikido lot,
divisive, but I think people understandably have strong opinions on this subject.
Send some voice notes.
Send some voice notes. If you don't want to send a voice note, send a text or like a message to Instagram or to us individually. If you would rather do that, that's absolutely cool as well. But I think this is quite a big subject. We can't just cover it in an hour. And I think lots of people will probably have lots of opinions on it. And there has been talk of doing a women's only self-defense thing with jiu-jitsu. So, and that's still in the pipeline and something I'm very much aware of. And so, yeah, we're working on it. It's an interesting subject. Let's continue to talk about it, I think, because it's a big deal.
Yeah, 100%.
We got to go.
I got to go, sorry.
3, 2, 1, bye.
3, 2, 1, bye, 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 bye.